is Nijō UNESCO's World Heritage Palace of the Shogun period and different other periods. There are lots of silk paintings. This is Chinese influence from historical past down to the Japanese era. Okay. That's the translations of all the paintings inside those grand hall. It's actually all from here, the gardens. All of the screens inside the grand hall has had a relationship straight from the nature. That said, very much these trees and the artist have come up with much more elaborated or elaboration of his paintings on those screens inside this grand palace that are on showcase for us all. And that said, all those silk screens were painted by great artists at the time with known knowledge of their skills and attributes put together, and they came up with an amazing and incredible feat of experience and experiments, and result in absolutely fascinating screens with sceneries very much depicting the landscape and the garden of this Nijō Castle, or the Nijō Castle here in Kyoto, one of the World Heritage Sites. Just like coat of arms anywhere in Europe, during different periods they've actually had their coat of arms encrusted on that peak of that roof and those tiles, and the ends of the tiles also depicts the very translation of their period. And this is something that came from China, the mainland China. The history here is very much going back to the Chinese periods. Yeah. And look at the architecture, the copper gutters and the downpipes. These were all after restoring later periods. As you can see, this section of the roof has been restored, hence the discoloring on the far left of this frame here. See the actual architecture.
Normal también, ¿verdad? Oh, eso sí.
And Okay, this is to protect from cold and wintry conditions, and to protect the plant. They use straw, hay, to protect the actual tree. The bark is all wrapped around. Great protection. If you understand architecture, if you understand materials and building, you want to look underneath how they've supported and held the timber sleepers that were sort of used as a platform to construct, and this is to give extra life by elevating the entire structure above the ground, so that anything to do with weathering and climate and water and insect bites and all of those things, the nature's elements could be sort of reduced, the nature's weathering could be reduced by elevating the structure this way. And these are methods some 400 years ago implemented and put together just for the time of knowledge and understanding about the current set of the environment to be able to do all of this. And just imagine how much of accumulated knowledge, if it was written down and then evolved with time as to known information and known knowledge of the engineers and architects who actually worked on this incredible project. There we have it. Here we go. How diligently caring of doing the work. Unlike anyone else around the world, aren't any more diligent in what they do. Everyone today is very much focused on cheap goods, not the diligent and focused and the emphasis that goes into maintaining these gardens are not like making cheap goods around the world in factories at a speed that nobody can catch up with, that breaks. And the technique and the architecture and the methodology has been used from the past. We can take a small leaf of an example to manage, if we have the intelligence to be able to do this kind of methodologies and techniques that have been handed down for centuries on. And we are now very much focused on goods that are made with inferior quality and gardens that are temporary with inferior layouts which are unable to sustain